For those facing a cancer diagnosis, treatment, and or recovery, a positive mindset can be incredibly helpful because no matter how bad things get, you need to find a way to be in the emotion and trauma, yet then find a way to move through it and then past it as best possible. But how are you supposed to do that? What exactly is a positive mindset and how do you get one? And when does a helpful positive mindset turn into toxic positivity? Welcome to episode 9 of the Recovery Room podcast, because this is what we're talking about in this episode. Backed by popular demand, we are bringing back to the show mindset specialist and cancer survivor, Kimberly Macon. We discuss what positive mindset is, where and how it is helpful, and also where the line is when positivity can become toxic. Kimberly will give us the tips and tools of mindset to not eliminate hardship, but to better cope with it when it happens. Please let me know in the comments, does a positive mindset come easy to you? Or is it not something that is natural to you? You can also call the Recovery Room podcast voicemail and leave your stories and thoughts. The number is 414-373-0700. I look forward to your comments and calls. Whether you are podcast listening or podcast watching, I appreciate you being here. I'm a cancer physical therapist, Dr. Leslie Waldke. Please hang around until after the show for your episode recap, and you'll learn how you and I can engage directly in my incredible cancer survivor membership group, Recovery Room Plus. This is the Recovery Room podcast discussing all things cancer and cancer recovery. We bring you the experts, accuracy, understanding, and the next steps you need to be healthier, more confident, make better decisions, and live your best life after cancer. Kimberly Macon, welcome to the Recovery Room podcast. So glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
All right. So I love this topic because it is such a buzz in the cancer community, either whether survivors and or people that are still in treatment, because mindfulness is a big thing. Mindset is a big thing, but it has its benefits. It has its limitations. Mm-hmm. And like anything, it can be a great tool. And like anything, it can be an abused tool. So today we're going to talk about mindset and when and how is that helpful? And then when does that turn into toxic positivity? Because that, both of those are hot topics. So can you just start by giving us a real brief description of your cancer survivor, which I think is important because, real life perspective. So can you just give us a quick lowdown of your experience?
Sure. So my cancer journey, which once you get into this world, it's truly a journey. It's an ongoing thing. You think that you're going to reach this magic moment of, I've finished all of my major treatments, I can move on. But it's something that you carry throughout the rest of your life.
Yeah. So
in the summer of 2020, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. My first mammogram, I actually found the lump myself in the shower. Took action right away to go get the mammogram. I was scheduled for at the age of 40, and turns out it was actually breast cancer. So diagnosed summer of 2020, went through chemo through the end of the year, had the double mastectomy the following year or within 2021. Then also had to have adjunctive therapy that lasted for the remainder of that year going into 2022. So like you said, it's been a journey. And so experiencing all of the major milestones or categories that encompass most cancer journeys, and my background being an executive coach and working in the coaching space, with my personal experience, that's what led me to truly explore and take a deep dive into the space of mindfulness and mindset, because I was already working with some of my clients on it in a lightweight manner.
Right.
After having this personal experience and having to truly dig deep and discover how I was going to make it to the other side, that's what truly guided me to wanting to be deeper in this space. And quite frankly, wanting to help others, cancer survivors, or just individuals in general, learn the benefits of how mindfulness truly can guide you through whatever obstacle that you may experience in your life.
So let's start then with just defining mindset and mindfulness for people who are like, I don't know. I mean, I know I heard the word, but what the heck is it?
Yes. So just a basic definition of mindset. It's truly a culmination of your experiences and thoughts that have shaped how you show up in the world today when you are faced with day-to-day challenges and obstacles, or just life in general. Your mindset is how you react, how you engage. Are you a person that when something bad happens, you start going down a list of, oh my God, this is what's going to happen next. It's going to be negative, going down the negative path? Or are you the person to say, okay, this event has occurred. What is it here to teach me? How can this help me grow? That's what mindset is all about, how you approach problems and situations.
Okay. Very good. So how can you share a personal experience of how this helped you through your cancer journey or experience?
Absolutely. So, when you get the news that you have cancer, your world is rocked. I went through the initial emotions of thinking, I'll be honest, am I going to die?
Right.
That's the first thought that pops up.
Right. So just not to but I think it's important when we talk about mindset is it's not thinking about the negative stuff, right?
Yes.
And I think it's really important to get across because it's like,
absolutely.
Right. Not thinking that stuff doesn't mean that you're not positive.
Exactly. Because the emotions are going to happen.
Yes.
It's how you deal with the emotions and move through the emotions. And I would actually say those who try to suppress the emotions are doing more harm than good.
Yeah, you're going to get in trouble. They're going to get you either way.
They're going to get you either way. Yeah. And so when the emotions arise, when you have a positive mindset, you actually sit with the emotion in the moment.
Right.
Knowing that I have to move through it so that I can move past it.
Yeah. So it's not like if something, you just had cancer surgery and it really hurts.
Yes.
Positive mindset is not, okay, this really hurts, but I'm going to have a positive attitude and ignore it. And I'm just going to push through it. That's not mindset.
That is
mindset is this freaking hurts. Mm-hmm. How am I going to cope with this? Is that accurate?
That is accurate. Okay. It's addressing the real emotion, the realness of the situation at hand.
Yeah.
But then thinking
really important. Yeah. Really important.
Really important. But then taking the next step and not sitting in that.
Right.
And so that's where it becomes, you get into that negative space of just being there, not moving through it. Right. So once you have that moment of grieving the situation, okay, how am I going to proceed? Mm-hmm. Knowing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and having that positive perspective.
Right. Okay. So then your personal experience then is you were able to take those tools and then kind of say, okay, this is horrible. I don't like this. I'm afraid for me. I'm afraid for my family, all the stuff that people, and so do you think that it helped you get through better, get through faster, recover faster? What are the benefits of this approach, do you think?
So the benefits of this approach, it absolutely helped me cope and go through the cancer journey with more grace for myself and others, and being able to be in a space of knowing this is just a moment in time. Okay. And how I show up in this moment in time will be the catalyst of what I will be when this is done.
Yeah. And I think, that's just brilliant because rightfully so, because I never had cancer, but I have been critically ill myself. And you do get into a zone where this is my life. This never feels like it's going to end.
Yes.
And for some people, treatment can take a year or more. That's a long time out of your life. So it is hard to think of this being a temporary situation.
And to your point, the majority of cancer journeys last at least a year. Yeah. I really just ended my cancer journey at the end of 2023. So it has been 3 years. 3 years of chemo, surgery, post-cancer treatments. Then also, chemo can do a lot to the body, which causes other things.
Yeah, it's not over when it's over.
Not over when it's over. More infusions. I had to have the hysterectomy to, combat recurrence. There was an avalanche of things that kept coming towards me. But what kept me in a position to be able to stay in a positive space. Once again, I did have down moments, but come out of it was, one thing is you have to recognize the milestones along the way.
Right. Right.
So from a mindset perspective, okay, you lays out your plan at the very beginning. You're going to have this, 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 and this. And you're like, okay, let's go. I'm ready. As you are reaching those milestones, it's important to recognize that and celebrate those moments.
Yeah.
Because when you have any type of long journey in life, you have to celebrate the wins along the way, because that helps to re-energize you and helps, like, once again, from a mindset, it's a mind thing. And this is like scientifically proven, we like rewards.
Yes. Humans respond extremely well to gratification.
So you're able to have a reset along the way when you do celebrate those milestones once you reach them, because it will be such a long journey.
Yeah.
And from a mindset perspective, it is finding things that inspire you. During this time, it's where you're able to find, if it's reading a book, if it is taking time to meditate, if it's taking time to even breathing, like there's just certain things that you can do to just recenter yourself.
Yeah.
So that as you're going through this tough journey, because it's not easy, what can I do to remain as positive as possible?
Right. And I think that's good, because your mindset can get exhausted.
Yes.
When there's so many onslaughts and so many appointments and so much in front of you, and everything just makes you sick, and there's so many side effects, and there's medications to fix the side effects that have side effects, it can just get exhausting. So those are good tips for just kind of keeping your mindset healthy, because and again, I'm hoping you would say that it's okay to kick and scream and yell, and that's healthy for your positive mindset, is to say, this is not fair.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You must, like I said, you must experience the emotions when they arise.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, suppressed emotions actually are stored in the body.
Yeah.
And can impact your healing.
Yeah. They will come out. Yeah.
So that release is necessary as you're going through. And what I think is important as well, what helped me through my journey from a mindset perspective, is identify one person in your life that can be kind of your partner in this mindset space.
Yeah.
And what that looks like is a person that's a good listener, right? That you can pick up the phone and call when you need to vent.
Yeah.
When you need to express distress, if you're in that space. Or when you just want someone to pick up the phone and you just want to cry. They don't have to say anything. Just knowing that they are there for you. I think that's critical, to be able to at least have one person that can be lock and step with you on this journey. And this person doesn't have to be your spouse or someone in your household.
Right.
This could be a friend or just someone that you know who is a positive person and doesn't live in like that negative space.
Yeah, for sure. So what misconceptions do you often encounter around mindfulness? I mean, mindfulness can't change MRI results. It can't impact recurrence risk. So let's now talk about how it can be abused into toxic positivity. Toxic positivity refers to the overemphasis of maintaining a positive outlook while dismissing or invalidating genuine emotions, right?
Yes.
And for cancer survivors, this can manifest as pressure to stay optimistic, which that pressure is the last thing you need when you've got this exhausting conveyor belt of relentless treatment. And that can help create isolation, and people might feel unable to express their emotions for fear of not meeting either a physician. Like, I want my physician, I got to be positive, or my physician's not going to take care of me, or my family's going to toss me out of the house if I'm gloomy all the time. So, and that obviously can hinder authentic coping and recovery. So when does positive mindset go too far and start to become toxic, either from internally or from the external? Because people are like, oh, just be positive, you'll be fine. It's like, screw you. That's not how it works.
Yes. So what I will say first is starting with the external. And so, when you're diagnosed with cancer or any type of health crisis, individuals, their first inclination is to want to comfort you and provide that support.
Yeah. Genuinely comfort. Genuinely. Most people are very genuine.
Yes.
Even though they say stupid things.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's They say you're going to be fine. You're strong. You're built for this. This wouldn't have shown up for you if there wasn't a way for you to push through.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah. That only gives you what you can handle. Yeah. Shove that right out the window.
Yes. Yeah. And so, you hear all of these statements and so what I will say is this, right? The external factors you cannot control.
Right.
You cannot control what people say to you or how people choose to try to show up for you.
Yeah.
The only thing that you can truly control is how you respond and how you show up for yourself.
Yeah.
So that is why it's critical to be focused on your internal speak.
Yeah.
What are you saying to yourself? What do you believe to be true? Because you can't control what's coming to you, but you can control what's happening and what you believe and what you think. And positivity becomes toxic, to be honest, when it no longer feels good to you.
That's excellent.
That's really the key.
Yeah.
Because this idea of, like I said, wanting to be strong and wanting to be a survivor and getting to that piece, yes, that can turn toxic really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it becomes toxic when, once again, you are not honoring how you feel and what's happening inside of you.
Yeah.
That's when it shifts to be toxic. When you have these negative emotions and these feelings, you had a rough day at chemo, but you decide, but you know what? I'm going to put on a strong face and go home and pretend like I'm okay.
Yeah.
That's when it's toxic.
Yeah.
And so what you must do is it is a mind shift that has to happen to say, whatever I'm experiencing at this moment in time, I am going to honor that feeling. Mm-hmm. If I am tired and I need to rest, that is what I'm going to do. Knowing that me resting will help me show up better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's thinking about how, when you're in the moment, processing those emotions, how it's going to help you tomorrow or the next day. So being in that space of honoring. And you talked about this idea of mindfulness and what is mindfulness and the misconceptions of mindfulness. Mm-hmm. When people think about mindfulness, a lot of times, if you're not familiar with just kind of like the general definitions of it, you automatically go to a place of, oh, I'm a yogi, sitting in the mountains with crystals all around me. Maybe I don't believe in a true higher being, because I can't be religious and be mindfulness. These are the misconceptions of what mindfulness really is.
Right.
When individuals think it's this far out thing, for only people who are very in tune with the earth and with their
right. That's
That's not it.
Right.
That's not it.
Right.
And so mindfulness is truly how you individually want to honor yourself, mm-hmm. honor your emotions, so that your overall, the mind, body, spirit connection, you are able to process and have positive outcomes.
Right.
It can look very different. It's a very individual thing.
Sure. Yep.
Now, once again, there are different practices in the mindfulness space, but everyone needs to know that it's individual. It's okay. What's going to speak to me and what's going to help me? Like, for example, I am a meditator. I like meditation. I like the idea of being able to quiet your mind, especially when it comes to cancer and being on the cancer journey. Yeah. You constantly have these thoughts in the back of your mind playing. As much as you want to silence them, they're there.
Right.
Is the chemo going to work? Am I going to make it? Will I be here for my children? Like, mm-hmm. these thoughts constantly come. But meditation, the practice of meditation, helps to give you time to just be. And it's not about getting rid of the thoughts, because the
Right.
thoughts are going to still come, but taking that quiet time to breathe. You can listen to soft music, to just be able to relax the body and the mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
And
if you do it for 3 minutes, like just having that moment of peace to just sit and be with yourself, it can be very soothing and have amazing effects.
yeah. Yeah. And I like to say that, yoga is not going to make you healthy. Meditation is not going to make you healthy. Crystal's not going to make you healthy. Food is not going to make you healthy. What makes you healthy is using those things. Those things are not going to make you healthy. Using those things to benefit your psyche and your emotion, your heart and your soul. That's what makes you healthy. People say, "Oh, I'm just going to start yoga, then I'll be fine." And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. We would all be fine if it was literally that simple.
Exactly. If it were that simple, yes, yes, we would all be fine. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But the important piece too is a lot of individuals, they may do something once.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to meditate today.
Yeah.
Day one, they, get in their quiet space and they're there for a minute and they're like, okay, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Then they want to move on to something else.
Yep.
Consistency is key.
Sure.
And giving things time to actually develop.
Yeah. It's a skill.
And it's a skill.
Anything is a skill. Yeah, you got to try it. Yeah.
You have to try it.
Yeah.
And so that is a critical piece, I think, in a mindfulness journey, knowing that it's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
Because we live in a society, all of us, we have you pretty much grow up thinking that being busy and constantly moving and shaking, that's life. I'm successful. If I'm sitting still, then I'm not doing enough.
Right. Exactly.
And
Yep.
true mindfulness, it's almost the opposite of that. It is knowing that in order for you to show up and be your best self, you have to pour inward. There has to be inward focus.
Yep.
And what does that practice look like for you so that you're able to pour out in overflow versus pouring from a half-filled cup or an empty cup?
Yep. Yep. And for me, I like how you said it's very individual for each person. I am not a meditator. I just can't do it. I've tried it. It does not work for me. It brings me no peace, no joy. But what I do is I will walk on the treadmill. I'll get my workout in, and then I will slow it down where I can close my eyes and just shut everything off.
Yes.
Or crank a couple of tunes at the end that just really help me process emotion or just that creates emotion in my body that I otherwise wouldn't be able to create. So it is really so individual, I think, and people need to realize that there's no perfect way to be perfect.
No right or wrong way.
Yeah.
And I love that, Dr. Leslie, what you just said about in terms of on the treadmill, at the end, you slow it down and you crank up a couple of your favorite songs.
Yep.
Pay attention to your body. I tell people all the time, pay attention to what makes you feel good. When I would sit through my chemo treatments, I had my chemo playlist. It was a playlist of songs that were inspiring or spoke to me, right? It was a mix of religion songs, but it was also a mix of, I'll say it's some of my favorite R&B hits that just make me feel good.
Yeah.
But it was personal to me, but that is what spoke to me in that time. And that's actually mindfulness.
Yep.
It is, perfect. I'm in this crummy chemo chair right now, looking at all of these sick people around me. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And so what am I going to do to lift my spirits and once again, keep my mindset positive in this moment?
Yeah.
Music speaks to me as well.
Yeah.
So I did that. And that is considered a mindfulness practice.
Yeah. So reading, music, people are knitting, people are laughing, playing their people solitaire. It just, honestly, it just doesn't matter if it works for you.
If it works for you.
Yeah.
But the key is to do something, right? Because mindfulness is not a passive thing.
Right.
It's action, just like the majority of everything in life. Yep. It's figuring out what works for you and actually practicing that.
Okay.
Even drinking water, right? Drinking water, like fueling your body, giving your body something that it needs, that's an act of mindfulness.
Yep. Yep. Perfect.
It literally can be something that small.
Yeah. All right. So let's, for people that are new to this concept, are like, I don't know, give me several tips for people to begin mindfulness or mindset practice that are complete beginners.
Yes. Okay.
Break it down.
So what I will say first is the baseline of mindfulness is really focusing and acknowledging the breath, breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Breathing gives life, right? And so when you truly just take a moment to slow down and breathe, it can quiet your mind, quiet your heart racing very quickly. And so it's called mindfulness breathing, and it's called the 4-7-8 technique.
Yep.
And so what happens is you inhale for 4 seconds, then you hold that breath for 7 seconds, and then you exhale for 8 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So practicing that breath work, doing that, let's say 4 to 5 times in a row, that is something quick and easy that you can do. That's a mindfulness practice that will center you again in a stressful situation.
Yeah, especially in stressful situations. Like you just got bad news, the MRI doesn't come back great, or you're just about to go into the MRI machine and you're claustrophobic. It kind of resets your physiology. And again, it doesn't make the problem go away, but if your feet are more firmly on the ground, it's going to be harder to push you off the cliff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is something that you can do fairly quickly to recenter yourself in the moment.
Okay, good tip. Tip number 2.
Practicing gratitude. I know we hear this all the time, but you hear it because it is true.
Okay.
When you take the time, and what I do in the morning when I get up and before I go to bed, I have a moment of gratitude. What am I thankful for today?
Mm-hmm.
Right now in the morning and before I go to bed. Even all the craziness that could have occurred during the day, I'm not going to end my day focused on my to-do list or everything that I have to get done. And oh my God, I cannot believe this happened today. My last thought before I go to sleep is, what is one thing that I'm grateful for? Because when you're able to really think about, in the midst of whatever's happening, I am alive.
Yep. I
am breathing unassisted. I mean, it can be small things. Today, I was able to enjoy ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, even when you're going through chemo and maybe you've been very nauseated and not able to enjoy anything, you know, your taste buds change. Hey, today I figured out, you know what? I can drink ginger ale. I'm just making some, you know, and it makes me feel better.
A pair of socks, a nice pillowcase, and all you can be thankful for all of that stuff.
Exactly. Just coming up with that.
Yeah. All right. Tip number 3.
Tip number 3. And so I know we'll get into this deeper at another time, but creating a centering thought.
Okay.
You know, I think it's very important, once again, when you're going through the cancer journey or any difficult crisis, your mind will go in a million directions at any given moment. Mm-hmm. You can be having a wonderful day and poof, here it is. This thought comes up.
Yep.
For me, it's recurrence. It's always right here. Now that, you know, cancer has been in my world, it's not going away. And so as much as I know that, okay, I'm healthy now, you know, I am, you know, disease-free at this moment. I have evidence to support everything that I'm saying. That thought will still be there. Mm-hmm. So I created a centering thought for myself to bring myself back to what is true in my life and also what I want my desired state to be. So my centering thought is, I am healed, I am whole, I am better than before. So when the thought of recurrence rises or I'm on my way to get scans, you know, this is what I repeat to myself to recenter. I am healed, I am whole, I am better than before.
Yep. And those are true statements.
Those are true. Exactly. They're true statements. And like we said, as we know, mindset, having a positive mindset, mindfulness, it's not the absence of negative thoughts.
Right.
It's having something to combat those thoughts.
Right.
So when this negative thought occurs, boom, I have something that's going to get me right back where I need to be.
Spectacular.
Being able to pull on those elements.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I always wind up my podcasts with the importance that we always talk about self-care and cancer recovery. So what are you, Kimberly Macon, going to do for yourself this week for your own self-care?
It's funny. It's been a busy week. I'm a mom of 3 young boys. We're back started in school. But for myself this weekend, I will be getting together with some of my girlfriends to have dinner.
Nice. That's fun.
And so, and that's self-care.
Yes, it is.
Getting a way to laugh. Laughter is good for the soul.
Yep.
Releasing those good endorphins, and just having a good time.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm looking forward to.
That is spectacular. Well, Kimberly, thank you so much for your expertise and your smile and your energy and your knowledge. It's been fascinating to talk about this, because I think it's really important that people understand what it is and what it's not, because it's truly simple and truly powerful. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, welcome. I so enjoyed being here today. Thank you.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay, before we jump into your recap, I want to say I love having you in my community. So if you haven't already, please follow and subscribe to The Recovery Room on YouTube and Facebook, and to The Recovery Room podcast. Please share these wonderful free resources with your support groups, family, friends, and medical teams. I also have an incredible cancer survivor community membership group called Recovery Room Plus. I'd love you to consider joining. In Recovery Room Plus, you get direct interaction with me, in-depth cancer recovery info and experts, and really cool live events like yoga, book discussions, cooking demos, member meets, and much, much more. I would love to connect with you. You can learn more at recoveryroomplus.com. I will leave the link in the show notes. And here is your episode 9 recap. Important points to note. Being positive and having a positive mindset does not involve denying or suppressing negative emotions, or responding to difficult situations by repressing distress or leaning on false reassurances. A positive mindset does not involve being positive all the time. That is not helpful and can get really exhausting. It is not the absence of negative thoughts, but having something to combat the negative thought. A positive mindset is addressing the realness of the situation, the realness of the emotion, and then focusing to find a way to move through and beyond. And remember, you cannot control how others show up for you or what they may say to you. And positivity becomes toxic when it no longer feels good to you. Kimberly's 3 mindfulness tips. Tip number 1, create a centering thought to cope with difficulty and scary situations and scary thoughts. I will leave a link to episode number 1 because that's what we did in that episode. Create a centering thought. Tip number 2, take a moment to stop and focus on your breath. Try the 4-7-8 technique 4 to 5 times in a row. That's a super easy thing to YouTube and learn how to do. Again, it doesn't make the problem go away, but if your feet are better centered, it's less possible to get knocked over the cliff. Tip number 3, appreciate and celebrate your milestones and wins along the way. Find things that inspire you. Practice gratitude, including to yourself. Go to sleep knowing one thing you are grateful for, whether it's breathing, ice cream, or even just not feeling nauseous today. Also, go to bed this evening knowing that you are the most important person on this planet, and remind yourself to exercise like your life depends on it, because it does. Thanks for listening. Let's talk again soon.